Hi, everyone. Welcome. We'll just give it a couple more minutes for folks to join the meeting. In the meantime, please drop your name and the place that you are joining us from in the chat. We'd love to learn a little bit about you. All right, I think we'll get started. Welcome, everyone, to this virtual Q&A session. My name is Archana Menon, and I'm the Arts and Culture Fellow with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Lindsay Randall, who's our Regional Humanities Specialist. We're going to share a bit about this call for artists that we launched a few days ago in collaboration with the town of Holliston. And we'll also hold some time for questions from you all. Just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on MAPC's website for future reference. Before we sort of dive into the call for artists, I just wanted to give a brief introduction about the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. We are a regional planning agency for the Greater Boston metro region, and we provide technical assistance in a variety of planning disciplines, including arts and culture planning throughout the region. We service 101 cities and towns, which are divided into 8 subregions. And that includes more than 3 million residents. MAPC's mission is to promote smart growth and regional collaboration, and our Regional Plan Metro Common 2050 guides our work as we engage the public in responsible stewardship of our region's future. And within the arts and culture, within MAPC, the Arts and Culture Department's mission is to advance planning and policy conditions that can help arts and culture thrive in Metro Boston. You'll find the link to MAPC's Arts and Culture Department webpage in our chat. Now let's talk a little bit about the artist opportunity in Holliston. We at MAPC are inviting artists to submit proposals for mural art to connect Holliston's downtown and the rail trail area. And there's 3 sites in or near the Holliston downtown. And MAPC is providing $10,000 for one artist or team that will be selected. And the application deadline is July 19, 2024. You can read the call for artists through the link that we'll post in the chat as well. It'll have a lot more information about the call. And we'll go through most of the sort of information at today's session, but we invite you to read the call for art in full for more details. Again, before we dive into the call for artists, I wanted to briefly share a bit about the Regional Trails Creative Placemaking Strategy, which is the sort of larger project that this call for artists is a part of. We started the Regional Trails Creative Placemaking Strategy project with the town of Holliston representing the Metro West subregion and the town of Acton representing the Minuteman Advisory Group on Interlocal Coordination, or the MAGIC subregion. The focus of the project is to build more intuitive connections between trails and downtown commercial areas using public art and creative placemaking, and to explore trails as a resource for community and economic development. So what is creative placemaking? We've heard this term quite often, and within MAPC, the definition that we use for creative placemaking is that it is a planning and community development process that occurs when planners, community development practitioners, artists, and others deliberately integrate arts and culture into community revitalization work that is placing arts at the table with land use, transportation, economic development, education, housing, infrastructure, and public safety strategies. Now, keeping this definition of creative placemaking in mind, we developed the following goals for the Regional Trails Creative Placemaking Strategy project. And they are to use public art and creative placemaking to strengthen strategic connections between trails and downtown commercial centers, identify areas along the trail that need inclusive signage and wayfinding initiatives, promote trails as equitable public spaces that foster connections and a sense of belonging, and connect arts and culture to the larger community revitalization efforts in towns. And we did this in Holliston by convening a wide cross-section of stakeholders through advisory group meetings, through creative placemaking workshops. We even interviewed more than 20 local stakeholders. And this sort of advisory group that has come together to shepherd this process will ultimately steward arts, culture, and creative placemaking in the town going forward. And sort of the larger project timeline looks like this. We started this project last year in June, and going forward, we will sort of, we are about to wrap up this project, and we are at the tail end of this project with launching the call for art, and we'll be soon selecting the artists from all the proposals that you send in, and we will hope to do a sort of formal unveiling of the art and celebration of the artwork sometime in late August. And so again, just to reiterate, we are inviting artists to submit proposals for mural art at 3 sites in and around Holliston downtown that will connect the downtown to the rail trail. And we are awarding $10,000 for one artist that will be selected, or one artist team that will be selected. And the application deadline is July 19th, 2024. The 3 sites for the mural art, here's sort of a small map that you can use as a reference. All of these materials and information is available in the call document and on the project website, which we will link in the chat. The 3 sites include the doors at the Blair Square Pavilion and 2 electric boxes in Holliston downtown. Just to give you all a little more information about the 3 sites, the first site is, as I mentioned, the doors at the Blair Square Pavilion. As you can see, it's tucked away a little bit because the structure is so huge. Blair Square is this new and a new renovated location that acts as one of the main access points into the trail. And it's also becoming this place where people gather and be in community with each other. And we encourage the artists to use the doors as the main canvas, but also to perhaps hang elements of the art from the rafters of the pavilion to draw a little more attention to the artwork. In the evaluation rubric, you will notice that while the doors are listed as one of the primary canvases, and we are encouraging artists to add elements from the rafters, the sort of additional elements will not well, let me reframe that. While the doors of the Blair Square Pavilion are one of the main sites, we are encouraging the artists to add additional features from the artwork or through the rafters of the pavilion. And there'll be a couple of bonus points that we will award to artists who include those elements. So it's not necessary to include that. And you will see that in the evaluation rubric as well, that no artists will not be docked any points for not including that, but we certainly encourage the artists, and there'll be a couple of bonus points that will be awarded if you do include sort of additional features that can be hung from the rafters to draw more attention to this location. A couple of things that need to be sort of kept in mind about this location is that the seam and the lock cannot be painted over, and the sort of additional elements that need to be hung, that could be hung from the rafters, could include suspended pieces, mobiles, or other innovative installations that are an extension of the mural art. Banners or flags will not be permitted, and only elements directly related to the mural art will be allowed to be hung from the rafters. The second site is an electric box at Washington and Green Street. And this location is interesting because it's very close to Goodwill Park, which is a sort of well-known park in the vicinity and is used by many community members and families. And it's also one of the sort of prime locations in downtown Holliston. It sits in front of a unused gas station. Right now, the gas station is not in use, and this location sort of will also look to uplift that area through the art. The third and final location is another electric box at Washington and Hollis Street. This is one of the main intersections in the Thomas Hollis National Register Historic Districts, and it serves as a vital link between the rail trail and the historic downtown, and is surrounded by landmarks reflecting Holliston's architectural heritage. And it's very close to Holliston's Town Hall, and is also sort of a prime location within the Holliston downtown. Just to reiterate the grant award, it's $10,000 that MAPC will be providing to one selected artist or team who will come up with a comprehensive design thematically linking all the three sites. And the $10,000 will be disbursed in the following stages. 20% of the grant award will be given to the artist with a signed contract, 40% on the approval of the final design, and 40% on the project's completion. Some of the guiding principles that we identified for this mural art, which we came up with, which were sort of developed, I should say, in collaboration with the advisory group members in Holliston. were connectedness, which means that the mural art should enhance social interaction and encourage spatial exploration for the downtown and trails areas in Holliston. Inclusivity, which means that it should be representative of the diverse perspectives, communities, and cultures present in Holliston. And you can find a little more detail about the diverse perspectives, the communities, and cultures present in Holliston in the call document itself. The third value or guiding principle is aesthetic appeal, which means that the concept should demonstrate high artistic quality, must be visually attractive, and should engage viewers. And finally, it should be place-based. That means that the concept should be rooted in and responsive to the site-specific locations and the history and culture of Holliston. The application requirements include a statement of interest and the artistic project concept, a budget, the template for which has been included in the call document, a description of the artist and your experience, preliminary drawing of the concept or a portfolio of past work, and the artist should be available to complete the project by August 20th, 2024. Now, who can apply for this project? Well, the call is open to all US residents aged 18 and above, but we are strongly encouraging artists based in Holliston and Massachusetts, and also encouraging artists who have expertise in community arts, creative engagement, murals, paintings, and who have experience collaborating with community-based organizations. But all that to say, we are encouraging artists of all experience levels to apply for this art, and we would love for this call to have a maximum sort of reach in its audience. Some key dates that we need to keep in mind are that the call for artists was opened on June 28th, and today we are having this virtual Q&A session. The call application deadline is on July 19th, and the selection committee will meet to review the applications between July 23rd and July 25th. And the selection of the artist will be announced on July 26th. By August 20th, we would like the artist to complete the implementation of the project, and the formal unveiling and celebration of the art project will be hosted in Holliston during the time period of August 24th and 25th. And I'll invite Lindsay to drop the link to the call for artist application in the chat. Thank you. Here's the project website for your reference, and my contact email address will also be posted in the chat. I know I threw a lot of information at you all, so I'll pause here and see if anybody has any questions for us.
There are a few questions in the chat, Archana. If you go back.
I'm just looking at them. I see Sasha's question about the meters on the electric boxes. What is the part that shouldn't be painted? The whole light gray box or just the glass piece of the meter? I would say the whole light gray box. There's a question about materials cost. Is the material cost part of the $10,000 or will the material cost be provided? The material cost will need to be included in the $10,000. So the $10,000 will include the artist's fees, materials, and any other sort of fees that you will incur. I see one more question from Rebecca. Is it possible to use vinyl wrap of original art instead of hand painting? Yes, that is certainly possible. And I agree, the timeline is really tight. I would say that there's not too much flexibility in the deadline, but once you submit your application proposal and the review committee meets to select the artist, we can have a little more conversation about timelines. I see a question about important landmarks. Goodwill Park is certainly important to Holliston. And the question is, are there any other landmarks that feel especially important to the town community? I think the main objective is to connect the rail trail and the downtown area. And the downtown area certainly has a lot of important historical architecture. The town hall is certainly the town hall and the library are certainly important landmarks in the community, but also the small businesses in the community are sort of housed within buildings that are of historic importance. So I would say that, you know, the sort of downtown area has this historic feel, and that would be sort of important to consider. There's another question about the hanging elements. Is there a preference for how hanging elements can be attached? Is it okay to install hardware directly into the wood? So we've heard from the town's facilities director who mentioned that nails and hooks can be attached to the rafters. And once the sort of concept comes in, we can have more detailed conversations with the facilities director to get confirmation from him and get the all okay. Yes, Sasha, we did get confirmation from the town that the boxes will be primed. The boxes and the door will be primed for the artist to use. There's a question about resources for learning the history and culture of the town outside of the internet, perhaps a museum. Unfortunately, there's not a lot. I have linked a few resources in the call document that can be referenced to get an understanding of the history and culture of Holliston. But if you have some specific questions, I would encourage you to also visit Holliston Historical Society's website, which we'll pull up and drop in the chat as well. There's a question about the handles and the lock. Will the handles and lock be removed from the door in order to allow for painting? That's a good question. We've not had that chat with the facilities director yet, and I can check back with them and post that on an FAQ sheet that will go up. All of these questions with the answers will go up in the form of an FAQ sheet on the project website, and we'll certainly send you the link to that as well. There's a question about permit or insurance to install the mural. So we've got the sort of all clear from the town. So in terms of permitting, I think we have that all sorted. Insurance, I think I'll have to get confirmation about this from the town, but I think the town will sort of include it in the form of a rider, if that's helpful. Are there any other questions? And I hope I've provided enough clarification about the questions in the chat. Please feel free to let me know either in the chat or if you want to unmute and ask the questions. That's totally okay as well. Right. Thank you, Jamie. I'm glad you found the information useful.
Hey, Archana.
Hello.
Hello, it's Sasha. So I have seen the information, like the information document said that like artists should be aware of bases for the boxes being scraped in winter, but we're not supposed to paint the base, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. There's no requirement to paint the base.
Okay.
Because those will get worn
Mm-hmm.
for the sort of winterizing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, I have one question. Sorry. This is Andrew. I was just curious about the use of the pavilion and the doors. Is that anything that people are using often? Does it lead to something like a bathroom or an event area, or is it just locked? Is it just like storage space?
It's storage space and it's locked. It's not used.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Oh yeah, one more question about like as bathrooms were mentioned. I have visited the site, so parking seems to be ample.
Mhm.
But what's the situation with bathrooms as far as they were mentioned?
We'll
Yeah.
Yes. We'll certainly collaborate with the town and ensure that facilities are available for the artists. The library, the town hall, they're all in close vicinity of these sites. And there are also small businesses whom we can speak with and make sure that artists can avail of the amenities there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. I think there are no more questions in the chat. If you think of any additional questions that you need information about, please feel free to send me an email. My email address is in the chat and it's amenon@mapc.org. We look forward to receiving your proposals, and we're very excited to launch this call for artists for the town of Holliston. And looking forward to hearing from you all soon.